What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Dermy Wormy, and I have an interesting video for you guys today because last week we started getting like major announcements, major trailers dropping, whether it's the Deadpool 3 trailer, whether it was the announcement of the actual Fantastic Four, or the X-Men 97 trailer that came out. And I myself and many others were starting to wonder, hey, what was going on here? What's happening? Why is Marvel announcing all these major platforms, all these major IPs, all these major pushes for big name things? And I think we finally got the answer coming out from the Hollywood Reporter itself, how Marvel is quietly retooling amid superhero fatigue. The studio's golden box office aura has been dented, but chief architect Kevin Feige isn't scrapping this year's long cinematic universe plan, just refining it. They're not going to give up, says an insider. So what this actual Hollywood Reporter points out, like this article ends up pointing out, is a bunch of like very interesting things. They actually do point out to the fact that, hey, they had the whole entirety of the Super Bowl trailer for Deadpool 3 came out. It was a massive hit amongst fans, one of the biggest trailers ever watched. They then talked about how, hey, they announced Fantastic Four, this very popular IP, one of the number one IPs for Marvel itself. All these comics, like a beloved IP. They announced that entire cast and stuff like that, and they were like, hey, they were very, very happy. They liked the reception, even though, like, hey, Pedro Pascal's involved. They then pointed to the X-Men 97 trailer and how that was the biggest animated outing for a Disney Plus series since like how many people were actually receptive to the actual trailer itself since What If or any of the animated Star Wars series. Now, that's not a major bar, but it's still something to boast about. And I mean, who can really blame them when you're taking into account that X-Men's one of the, when it comes to Marvel IPs, you got Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, and X-Men. Like, these are your top brand IPs. Of course, people are going to react to these in a very high manner. But you start coming down here. These public-facing moves come as studio boss Kevin Feige recalibrates the creative direction behind the scenes. That's right. They're starting to point out that, hey, there's something going on here. There's a lot of interesting things that they're doing. And one of the things that they do point out in this actual article itself is, yeah, they completely got rid of the Kang Dynasty. It's no longer Avengers 5 will no longer be Avengers 5 the Kang Dynasty, because amidst the termination of Jonathan Majors, when he got fired, when he was found guilty of his battery charges, they got rid of him. But they do also point out that within this article that they were working well in advance on all this. The first of the new Avengers movies, due out in 2026, was initially titled Avengers the Kang Dynasty, but will be getting a new title to remove the character's name. Those sources say that even before Major's conviction, the studio was making moves to minimize the character after Quantumania underperformed, grossing $476 million. But even with all their like changes that they're doing, even with the destruction of like Ant-Man Quantumania, and then trying to downplay Kang altogether because they kind of destroyed Kang from the get-go, you start wondering like, hey, what are they actually doing? Where are they actually going? And all I have to do is point to you right here. The studio also quietly hired Eric Person to polish the script for Fantastic Four. And for those of you who aren't aware who Eric Person is, well, he worked on things like Thor Ragnarok, which I don't hate as a movie, but hey, a lot of people do, and Black Widow. Yeah, they also worked on Black Widow, and you continue going on. The stakes for that movie are high, as the studio is still searching for characters and actors who can carry its universe forward after the exit of Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, because they know they're in a bad situation. They know all these characters that were leaving are just monumentally bad. Their universe pretty much did end after Endgame. Endgame ended the entirety of the MCU, and they know that outright. That's why they were pushing Kang to be the next level Thanos character, and it wasn't working. None of their things have been working. But when you actually look at how they're retooling stuff, when you look at some of the things they're doing, they're not retooling it properly. You should be like completely scrapping the board, essentially. You should be completely getting rid of a bunch of people that you have been using, but instead all they're doing is they're relying on people that already showed failures to try to get them out of all these failures. They're not really changing anything. They're going to continue doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on all their projects, all their ideology, all this like failed momentum. Now they're just going to be grappling in other properties within this whole thing. You just have to look at the X-Men 97 and what some of the writer himself has actually came out and said. Well, the director has came out and said like, hey, they tapped me because I was a black gay man. You just have to look at the fact that Fantastic Four does have Pedro Pascal involved with it, and some of the leaks around there don't really point well for Pedro Pascal's character as Mr. Fantastic. We don't see any real evidence of them properly changing course, properly making any headway. And even when you come down to like one of the things they're trying to boast about right down here is the factor of Captain America, the New World, well, not the New World Order, but New World Order, that it has a 7-month delay because they're doing like 5 different months of reshoots on this movie, basically creating an entirely new movie from the ground up because it was that bad. They're not really going to be fixing anything. They're not showing any evidence of actually changing anything. They're just, hey, you know what? Instead of doing this way, we're just going to bring up in a bunch of the same people to try to fix everything. Okay. All these people ruined it, but we're now going to have all these people that ruined it come back in and try to fix it all. That's not going to save anything. That's going to continue having it all go downhill. And I don't see any evidence of this actually fixing itself. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me get your guys' thoughts on all this down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it out, friends. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video and go live. And I'll see you all on the next one. Bye for now.